kuwa na General Gaiseri, tumekuwa na watu wamekomaa kina Matiang'i. Huyu mtoto William Ruto ameweka kama atakuweka wakati ya uchaguzi atapiganisha Wakenya. Wewe Kasongo, wacha nikuambie, kwanza hapa Nairobi na hapa Mlimani, hata ukiweka Soprano deputy utaenda nyumbani, si ndio? Ukiweka Oburu Odinga utaenda nyumbani, ukiweka Gladys Wanga utaenda nyumbani, ukienda Hassan Joho utaenda nyumbani. Hatuna haja kujua ni nani deputy yako. Haja ya Wakenya ni kupeleka wewe nyumbani kwa sababu umeharibu Kenya, si ndio?
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has distanced himself from the growing political debate surrounding the office of the Deputy President, saying his priority remains supporting President William Ruto in delivering development across the country. Speaking amid rising political speculation over the future of the Deputy Presidency, Kindiki said they will not be distracted by political noise and instead remains committed to the government's development agenda. He noted that his current focus is to work closely with President Ruto to ensure the effective implementation of key government projects aimed at improving the lives of Kenyans.
Na musiletewe wasiwasi na mambo madogo madogo yale watu wanaongea, watu wa siasa. Mimi ndio Deputy President wa Kenya, na hii kiti hakuna mahali kinaenda, na tukitoka hapa hakuna kurudi nyuma, ni kusonga mbele. Mwanasiasa mzuri anajua siku ya kazi na siku ya siasa. Niseme nisiseme? Ukiwa mwanasiasa kumbavu unaongea kila siku. Unaongea Jumatatu, Jumanne, Alhamisi, Jumapili, Januari, Disemba, ni mdomo. Wewe ni mwanasiasa ambaye hauna akili. Mwanasiasa mwenye akili anajua siku ya kuongea, siku ya kukimya, siku ya kupiga siasa na siku ya kazi.
Profesa Kithure Kindiki ndiye naibu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na ndiye atakuwa naibu wa rais 2027 kuelekea 2032. Wale ambao wanatafuta viti watafute viti, lakini wasitafute kiti ya rais na kiti ya naibu wa rais. Na kama kuna mashindano, tuko tayari kushindana na wao. Tuko katika serikali ya broad based government na tunaheshimu hiyo maneno zaidi, na tunawajibika katika serikali ya broad based government ili umoja wetu wa taifa uendelee kudumu, ili umoja wetu wa taifa ukidhiri mizizi. Hiyo tutafanya na kuhakikisha kwamba serikali inawajibika, inajituma, inafanyia wananchi wa Kenya kazi sawa. Lakini kiti ya naibu wa rais kuelekea 2027-2032, nyinyi watu ya ODM, nyinyi kama muko na anja, tafuta kiti ingine, lakini kiti ya naibu wa rais ni ya Profesa Kithure Kindiki.
DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua has announced that the United Opposition Coalition will visit the office of Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja tomorrow to follow up on the investigation into the recent attack on Witima Church in Othaya. Speaking at PCA Zimmerman Church in Roysambu constituency, where he attended as a congregant, Gachagua expressed concern over the slow pace of the investigation. He cast doubt on the authorities' commitment, alleging that police officers and investigative agencies have been reluctant to apprehend apprehend the suspects despite available evidence linking them to the crime. The DCP party leader called on the government and police to safeguard the sanctity of places of worship, describing attacks on religious institutions as acts of terrorism. This move comes 2 weeks after the United Opposition confronted Inspector General Kanja at Vigilant House in Nairobi over alleged threats to opposition leaders and Kenyan citizens.
Kesho tutarudi kwa Inspector General of Police. Tulikuwa huko 2 weeks ago tukitaka kujua nani alipiga kanisa na kwa nini hajashtakiwa. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. all of us will go back kwa Inspector General atuambie wale walipiga kanisa ya Kristo wakaumiza akina mama na watoto, kwa nini wajapelekwa kotini. We'll do that tomorrow. We want to ask the government to respect the sanctity of places of worship. Ile vita tumeona kanisani hasa ya PCA, we were attacked in PCA Mweki, we were attacked in PCA Kariobangi, we were attacked in ACK Wetima, and that attack of Wetima reminds us of the 2007 attack on Kiambaa Church. Government, uchunguzi umemalizika na tunajua all the officers who attacked us in Wetima have been placed on the scene. Kwa member of parliament walienda kukula chakula baada ya kupiga kanisa inajulikana, lakini tunaona there is reluctance to forward the file to the DPP washtakiwe. Niambie serikali, until those people have been prosecuted, the Church of Christ cannot forgive the government. Wapeleke hao watu waliumiza sisi kanisani, kwa sababu hiyo maneno ya kanisani, attacking a place of worship is a terrorist act, and all those who attacked Wetima Church and other churches are terrorists, and they should face the law, because that is the right thing to do.
And church leaders in Kenya have called on politicians to claim the rising political temperatures and prioritize serving citizens, warning against using national issues to score political points. Speaking amid increasing tensions ahead of next year's general elections, Anglican Church Archbishop Jackson Esapit highlighted that political rhetoric is heating up dangerously with more than a year and half remaining before the polls. Similarly, Catholic Archbishop of Nyeri Diocese Anthony Mueria cautioned against politicizing the ongoing drought crisis, saying that exploiting the situation for political gain could have serious consequences for the nation.
We want to plead with all of us, and especially the politicians. Now let us tone down divisive politics. Let us speak in love. Let us be truthful to our people and make sure that we serve the purpose which God has given us as leaders. This is a moment where they are now dismantling old vehicles and building new ones. And that's what happened to Kenya. You hardly get a formation that takes us through 2 elections. We dismantle, build again, alliances are broken, MOUs are broken, and they are built again.
We must not play the politics of drought, the politics of those vulnerable. We must not use them as our means of gaining popularity. We must not weaponize drought.
And moving on, the government of Kenya has issued a stern warning to citizens against traveling to the Russian Federation for employment secured through irregular or informal channels, citing a rising number of Kenyans falling victim to fraudulent recruitment schemes. In a statement released by the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs authorities, said they have received numerous inquiries from Kenyans and their families after job seekers travel to Russia on the promise of well-paying jobs, residence permits and stable employment, only to discover that the offers were either fake or drastically different from what had been advertised. The ministry noted that the Kenyan embassy in Russia has been inundated with distress calls from affected individuals, some of whom are stranded in restricted areas, making rescue and repatriation difficult. Officials warned that legal and administrative process under Russian law further complicate efforts to extract Kenyans who enter the country through unverified recruitment networks. Despite the challenges, the government reaffirmed its commitment to assisting affected citizens while intensifying efforts to dismantle criminal recruitment employment rings targeting desperate job seekers. And President William Ruto has called for far-reaching reforms to strengthen the African Union's ability to respond to peace, security, and governance challenges as he presented his report on AU institutional reforms at the 39th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. In the report, President Ruto proposed practical measures to enhance the continent's capacity for preventive diplomacy, crisis response, and good governance through closer collaboration, institutional coherence, and the use of emerging technologies. He said the document was the product of wide consultations with key AU organs, including the HOC Oversight Committee of Heads of State and Government, the African Union Commission, the high-level panel of eminent experts on peace and security, and the High Representative on financing the Union.
To reinvigorate the Pan-African Parliament, Decision 920 called for ratification of the 2014 Malabo Protocol granting limited legislative powers through model laws at the Assembly's invitation. I propose intensified sensitization and outreach by the Parliament Bureau, members of Parliament, and the Commission to encourage member states to ratify. Number 7, restructuring of AU organs and offices. Phase 1, restructuring reviews covered 42 entities, with most already considered by the PRC subcommittee. I propose that Phase 2 restructuring reports be submitted without delay to enable Executive Council consideration in February 2027, and that associated financial implications be addressed within the extraordinary session on union financing. Decision 920 mandated Dr. Donald Kaberuka, High Representative on Financing the Union, to consult on overall union financing. I propose that with Commission support, he undertakes further consultations with member states to strengthen consensus on key strategic financing issues. The Assembly also called for an extraordinary Executive Council session, bringing together Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Finance to advance union financing and peace fund strengthening. I recommend that this session be convened accordingly. I further propose that this meeting consider the financial implications arising from restructuring AU organs, agencies, and offices for a decision of the Assembly in our next year meeting. In view of increasing budgetary demands, I propose leveraging internal resources and African financial institutions, including inviting their chief executives to contribute funding options to complement member states' contribution towards Agenda 2063 priorities. I also propose renewed coordinated advocacy by the Commission, the High Representative on Financing, the Peace and Security Council, and the 3 African members of the UN Security Council for implementation of Security Council Resolution 2719 of 2023 on predictable and sustainable financing for AU-led support of operations that will be funded by UN-assessed contributions.
Now, regarding Valentine's Day, and as Kenyans across the country marked Valentine's Day with flowers, cards, and romantic gifts, Manchester United fans in Bungoma County chose a different and life-saving way to celebrate love by donating blood to patients in need. Supporters of the English Premier League giants gathered in Bungoma town and held a blood donation drive aimed at boosting blood supplies for patients admitted at Bungoma County Referral Hospital and other health facilities across the county. Speaking during the event, the group's chairperson Anthony Muholi said the initiative was part of the wider commitment to giving back to the society. He noted that Through their supporters network, they have continued to support vulnerable members of the community through various social programs.
Leo ni siku ya kutoa damu, siku ya wapendanao kwetu. Tuliona ya kwamba ni afadhali tuone wale watu hawajiwezi. Hospitali zetu ziko na shida mingi sana na wagonjwa ni wengi wanakosa damu. Badala ya kupeleka maua, afadhali tusanye watu watoe damu na wasaidie wale ambao hawajiwezi. Huyo ndio upendo tunataka kupeana siku ya leo. Na upendo wetu mkubwa ni lazima tutonate damu so that hospitali zetu zikuwe na damu ya kutosha, ili wagonjwa wasikose damu wakati kunakuwa na ugonjwa mkubwa ama mtu anahitaji zaidi. Hivyo ukiponya, ukisave life, utakuwa umependa mtu dunia mzima na umepeana mtu life ya tomorrow na anaweza saidia vitu mingi.
Manchester United Fans Club, which is now a nationwide Manchester United fans 254. We have actually been doing this yearly, like we are doing this in February, and then in April we'll be having a mega event that is a national event. That event is going to be hosted by us, Bungoma Fans Club, Manchester United Fans Bungoma. So we are going to host it in April. It's gonna be big. We are going to advertise our Bungoma County and majorly Bungoma South in Kandui sub-county, wherever we are going to bring people around from Mombasa, Kisii, Turkana, all the way from Taita Taveta. All those branches will be coming here from Kericho, Nandi. We have all those branches, the ones that you can see from behind me. Those are the branches that will be joining us in April for the event. And we are going to make people who are feeling less fortunate at least feel loved and feel remembered in the community.
For me, blood donation has become personal. In the month of September 2025, my father urgently needed blood. He was admitted in Nairobi Hospital and they didn't have blood group O positive. I called on the Manchester United membership and they came through. My father was able to get the life-saving blood that he needed. Unfortunately, he passed on in December, but we thank God that he at least lived for another 3 months because of the magnanimity of the Manchester United.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has underscored the strategic importance of Lamu Port under the Lampset Corridor, saying it is not just a local facility, but a vital gateway for Kenya and the wider East African region. Speaking on Saturday at Pate Girls Secondary School during the school prize giving day ceremony on the Pate Island in Lamu County, Wetangula said the port is designed to serve landlocked countries such as South Sudan and Ethiopia, opening new trade routes that will spur economic growth, create jobs, and boost infrastructure development across the region. He urged local communities, especially the youth, to acquire relevant educational and technical skills to take advantage of emerging opportunities in maritime services, logistics, and international trade.
Na nyinyi wazee muunge hii port yenu mkono, kwa sababu hii port mzee Kibaki tulipoleta hapa, mnakumbuka tulikuja hapa na mzee Kibaki, Prime Minister Meles Zenawi wa Ethiopia, tulikuja na Rais wa Sudan Salva Kiir, Rais Museveni alituma mtu yake. Tukifungua hii port tulisema this is the port for the region and for the northern corridor ya Lapset. Kwa hivyo hii maendeleo itafungua Lamu, muanze kuwa kama Mombasa, hata mpite Malindi, kuwa a hub ya maendeleo ya biashara ya kila kitu. Na hii mimi naunga mkono, tukiandika watu kazi tuanzie nyumbani, kwamba serikali itachukua kwa maanani kubwa kabisa mambo ya usalama hapa, kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale majambazi walikuwa wanakuja hapa kuhangaisha watu, kuharibu maisha yenu, kuharibu biashara, kupiga watu, kuumiza watu, kuharibu mali, serikali haitakubali hiyo itendeke, na itaendelea kuhakikisha bahari inalindwa, bara inalindwa, ili watu wakae kwa amani waweze kufanya kazi yao.
Thank you for watching the first segment of the Morning Live, which is the news updates. We're taking a short break here at Morning Live. We're coming back with the newspaper review. Stick around.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world. You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
EBN TV cares about the growth of your business. To advertise with us, call 0725 386 501 or 0740 653 453. EBN TV, transforming your world.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
From Nairobi, Kenya, this is EBN TV.
Refreshing Times is here. Join us every Wednesday from 8:30 p.m. on EBN TV as Bishop J.B. Masinde of Deliverance Church International Umoja brings you messages of timeless wisdom, spiritual guidance, and heartfelt encouragement to uplift your spirit and renew your faith.
You are not what people said about you. You are not what you do. You are not what you wear. You are what God says about you. Somebody say amen.
Refreshing Times, where faith meets life, only on EBN TV.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Conflict. In northern Mali, the country is divided de facto into two. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, 120 armed groups, yet it is the busiest airspace in the continent of Africa. Minerals are being taken away to Europe and America. Central African Republic, the same. Libya, the same. Several months ago, I wrote to the chair of the African Union and to all African heads of state and said, convene a meeting with only one agenda item. What can we do to save Africa from this slide? Only 4 replied. That is the state of the continent of Africa. We must deal with the basic things. We must solve conflict. We must change our governance. Because if we don't deal with the question of governance, we are going nowhere. Africa has become a continent where after every election there is conflict, because the pursuit of power is the cutthroat competition where throats are actually cut. And when the SMO was here and he consulted the oracles, he discovered that we have a problem in that direction. And that the sooner we resolve that, the safer we will be. Africa can rise and Africa will rise. But it's not going to rise by prayer and fasting. We must pray and fast, but it will not happen. Because the last time I checked, even those of you are believers, when Abraham was taken from Ur of the Chaldeans and given Canaan, it was not on a silver platter. He had to fight the Canaanites. He had to fight the Philistines. That is the nature of divine instruction. Go ye and subdue the world by the sweat of thy brow. The kitchen where they make manna was closed. Manna will no longer come. Because you must now make your manna. And it is our duty, therefore, as Africans to begin to rethink the younger generation. You know, there is a saying in Chichewa in Malawi that more precious than our children are our children's children. So when we are doing these things, we must remind ourselves that we are doing for this generation and generations yet to be born.
Welcome back. Remember, you can watch this bulletin through our social media platforms, that is TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram on EBN TV across, and our SMS line, as I said, is 23059, and we are moving all the way to the newspaper review. My name is Jeff Somba, and we have the Kenya's Board newspaper, The Standard, the Kenya's Board newspaper, The Standard. Then we have the Daily National. Starting off with the Standard newspaper. Long time ago, there is a song we used to listen to, but now this is God's work, this is the gospel, but this is politics. But it was all about Simba wa Juda, amani Simba wa Yuda akiguruma. Now, Sifuna rolls. I'm not trying to do a comparison, but I'm trying to look at the impact of what we're seeing from the Daily Nation and what we saw yesterday from Tononoka grounds in Mombasa and what we saw yesterday in Kitengela regarding the ODM party, Tononoka with Oburu Oginga, the interim party leader, and Sifuna Watenya in Kitengela as the Secretary General of the ODM party. Now, we've been looking at some photos and pics of the orange party symbol, which is the orange fruit. And yesterday they said we are looking at the pills in Mombasa, Tononoka, and we have the juice in Kitengela. How true is this? Now, some weeks ago we saw some reactions and some behaviors on the party. We saw Secretary General Edwin Sifuna expelled from the party, and yesterday and today we've seen different terms and sentiments from key leaders from the ODM party. I shall be telling you the sentiments from the leaders. But I also saw a picture of Sifuna running away with the full orange. I saw again orange fall down and torn into pieces. And I again saw it been cut into pieces. Maybe it is subdivided into different people, and maybe other parties will be benefiting from the same ODM party. We said ODM is 20 years of age, is as old as 20 years. It has been in place for that long, and maybe because of its impact politically, people may see maybe if we are absorbed in the party, maybe we shall have political advantage from the same. But what do we get from the newspapers? We're looking at the last kicks. The internal fracture in ODM, pitting interim leader Oburu Oginga against Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, played out in political rallies as the embattled SG yesterday drew humongous numbers in Kitengela, Kajiado, a site that would excite even seasoned politicians 400 kilometers away at the coast, which considered as ODM stronghold. Oburu was surrounded by a paltry crowd, leaving questions to which side carries the spirit of ODM, a party known for populism and crowd pulling. Page 4 and 5 of the Standard. Now, by your prayers, I stand here today as the ODM Secretary General. We are going through a long to your prayers have given us new strength and an affirmation that despite attacks, intimidation, and plans made against us, God is still our shepherd. And this is from ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna. Now, Oburu, after the death of Raila Odinga last year, October 15th, we saw Oburu Oginga, Doctor, the elder brother to Raila Odinga. He was appointed as the interim ODM party leader. Now, we're looking at a contrast. We are looking at a kind of contradiction here where ODM is known for pulling a lot of crowds, and we need to look at two differences here where Edwin Sifuna yesterday had a rally, Linda Mwananchi rally yesterday in Kitengela, Kajiado County. Then the ODM interim party leader Oburu Oginga was in Tononoka. It's all about Linda ground, na hapa kwingine it's all about Linda Mwananchi. You can see the difference in appearance and maybe in action. Now, we're looking at the numbers that we saw in Kitengela. We're looking at the difference now. When ODM put in place Oburu as the interim party leader, we knew that shall be carrying every spirit, shall be carrying every detail, every issue of the ODM leader. But yesterday, after the expulsion a few days ago of the Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, we're looking at the difference. We are looking at the wrangles within the ODM party, which has been there maybe for like 4 months right now. We're looking at leaders wanting to go with the party. But yesterday we saw the real spirit, where the real spirit of ODM states. And some times ago we saw some talks, we saw some sentiments and some words from Raila Odinga before he rested, that if Sifuna speaks, Raila himself has spoken. And maybe we're looking at the reflection of the ODM spirit in Kitengela. We saw it yesterday, and maybe it is moving with Sifuna. Some also segments from last week, Mimi ndio Sifuna, and maybe such words that we are moving all around. And even yesterday, even today, we see t-shirts painted and branded Mimi ndio Sifuna. So it's all political, but we try to make a comparison and see where ODM is going. Because yesterday we saw Oburu Oginga with a paltry crowd. It's a very small crowd, a very trivial crowd in Mombasa, Tononoka, in the coast. And we would think that because this guy, Oburu, is too old, he has all the mandate, he has the responsibility, he has the duties, he has the political wisdom to make sure that he propels ODM to maybe 2027 general elections. Now, we also have some wrangles maybe and some kind of misunderstandings between him and the current Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki. He said and he promised very clearly that there's no threat for the Deputy President seat, and Kindiki should have peace within himself, should be satisfied with what he's carrying, because maybe Oburu and ODM is not eyeing to have that Deputy President seat. But yesterday and some few days ago, we're looking at it as a turn and twist of events, and maybe communications and conversations where Oburu said that ODM should have a deputy president come 2027. Now, worry and shock to deputy president, but today and yesterday he's promised that he is not even concerned with the deputy president seat, because he's concerned with maybe supporting William Ruto, the incumbent, and supporting or even trying to keep developments to the citizens of this country. Now, these are all just theatrics. I said politics, they're just theater of games and maybe jokes war around here. You say this, tomorrow you say that. You never have a stand, you never be principled into what you say, that I'll be running with my word. But it's so thunderous from Edwin Sifuna, and it's affecting like each and every person outside there. And we shall be looking at maybe the young people and who are in active politics supporting Edwin Sifuna so actively to make sure that maybe they change a narrative where, like some few months ago, we've been looking at the leadership around Africa, and we see maybe power, politics, and maybe the last comes with power, and politics is a thing that can never be quenched so easily. Once you sit there, you never think of coming out. So looking or even putting a comparison of the age between Edwin Sifuna, maybe Babu Wino, and maybe Natembeya, and people of such caliber, young people, young generation, and these people are maybe strong enough in politics, strong enough in their minds. We don't say that all people can never deliver, but sometimes we see a gap whereby you can never connect all these dots to make sure that you do the developments that we need in a country. So I'm trying to look at the political energy from the team backing Sifuna and the team backing Oburu Oginga. Now, who is benefiting from the wrangles within ODM, and who is benefiting from what's happening in ODM party? Who is benefiting from the cakes or from the pieces cut from the full orange? So I know you saw what happened in Kitengela, and it's shaking almost each and every person. Now, I'll be reading something, or maybe I go to page 4 and 5, and it's all about ODM in turmoil. Sifuna and Oburu camps clash over the party's future, and Kitengela and Mombasa rallies lay bare the party's internal power struggle. Both camps claim to protect Raila's vision, with Oburu stressing unity and discipline. The fractures within Orange Democratic Movement yesterday morphed into a battle for control and the country's most recognizable party, as the two factions led separate rallies, both insisting on a rebirth of the party in the build-up to the general election. Then page 5, it's all about Oburu. CS Joe will lead ODM talks with Ruto. What was billed to be ODM's mother of all rallies was underwhelming by size of the crowd. The rally turned out to be coronation of Joe as preferred running mate to Ruto. This is politics, I said. Then Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joe will be part of ODM experts that will negotiate with President William Ruto on how to share power ahead of the 2027 general election. ODM party leader Oburu Odinga revealed this yesterday at Tononoka grounds in Mombasa during the rally to drum up support for President Ruto's re-election agenda. Now, you can see the difference that I'm talking about in politics. And it was a promise, yes, it was a promise that ODM remains a broad-based government maybe until 2027. It was not a promise maybe from Raila that ODM will be part of the government or will be part of the ruling party, which is a UDA party. But now, what was taking place yesterday against what was taking place in Kitengela, and okay, the difference from Tononoka and Kitengela, we're looking at a place where Oburu is just pushing for a running mate for Ruto come 2027, and it pinpointed Joe, Hassan Joe, and he's a CS. And we said if you become a CS, you are not supposed to be active politically. But we're looking at how things happen in Africa by the grid that we see in politics and power. So maybe what was happening yesterday, it's all about coronation and maybe pinpointing someone very key for 2027 general election. So it's not about ODM. It's about maybe ODM producing something come 2027. Maybe they had also promised they will not be fielding a candidate come that season. And they also promised they won't be getting the deputy president seat. But we're looking how their statements are changing from one day to the other. And as they move on, we shall be settling on which is the truth and how do we go politically as Kenyans. Now, page 2 of the Standard newspaper. No exam retake is do or die for Form 3 class as 844 ends. They are the last in the 844 system, and once they sit the exam, there's no reverse gear. When transition to the competence-based education system is complete, NEC will close the ODM, the old curriculum. Then this government is exerting pressure on parents and teachers to ensure that current Form 3 learners transition to tertiary institutions. The final cohort to sit next year's Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education KCSE under the ending 844 system will have no fallback, as there will be no possibility to resit the exams. Then we're looking at some numbers here. It's 1 million. It's all about the number of students in Form 3, which is the last class under the 844 system, which ends next year. Then page 3. I'm going to read that story from page 2, then page 3 of the Standard. Woman wins 30-year land battle but dies before claiming estate. Kezia Wajiro, determined and persistent, fought decades to reclaim her inherited land. Court rules Joseph Diragu's title is fraudulent, transferring ownership to Wainaina. Then a woman who spent 30 years fighting in and out of court to protect her family's 9.3-acre property in Old Kalau, Nyandarua County, has finally won the long-running estate dispute. However, Kezia Wajiro will not be able to enjoy the property she inherited from her late mother, Wangari Mwangi, as she passed away before the court could deliver its verdict. Now a question. Land Court Judge Mugo Kamau resolved the dispute between Wajiro and Settlement Fund trustees SFT and the late Joseph Dirangu, who had claimed interest in the land. A declaration is hereby issued that the plaintiff, Wanjiru, now deceased, is the legal and lawful beneficiary of the disputed parcel, ruled Judge Mugo. The judge ruled that the allocation of the title deed to Dirangu by SFT on January 4th, 1998 was obtained through fraud. The allocation did not follow the legal procedures, and the title in Diragu's name is hereby cancelled and transferred to Munywa Wainaina, who will audit as legal representative of the property. And Mugo ruled. And page 4 and 5, we had done it. Then page 5, it's all about Treasury. And Treasury says country's debt is sustainable with high distress risk. How sure is this? Then the government intends to continue to focus more on concessional funding sources. Target will be on traditional sources of funding while exploring frontier diversification. And this is from Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi. And economic growth is projected to remain at 5.3%, supported by enhanced agricultural productivity and resilience. Resilient services sector. Now, if they say maybe this economic growth projected to be around 5.3%, supported by or enhanced by agricultural productivity, I also want to put a point and maybe a question. If all this supported by and enhanced by the agricultural productivity, how safe is our agricultural productivity? How safe is our agricultural production? Because we're looking at a lot of food stuff rotting on the farms. Maybe we taking care of these farm products from the the start of the growth, or from germination up to maybe harvest time. But from harvest time, number one, we are not careful the procedures that we need to make sure that we harvest well, and we're not sure how we are supposed to maybe dry our food stuff, maybe, and again, are we supposed to store maybe this food stuff maybe for the future of this nation? If this 5.3 economic growth, this percentage maybe is enhanced by agricultural productivity, how careful are we on our farms, and how are we maybe trying to educate and maybe enable farmers that's out there to make sure maybe the productivity or the production is maybe at maybe 90 or 95%, and there's a promise that the growth will be at 5.3 from agricultural enhancement. We need to be careful. Then page 7, how mischievous litigants frustrate courts. Then litigants have notoriously been abusing the court processes and bending rules. They have been unreasonably using legal procedures to improper motives. Then the backlog of cases in court has been blamed on mischievous litigants abusing judicial processes by disobeying orders and filing free-fallers cases to gain unfair advantage. Judicial documents show litigants have, however, also accused some magistrates and judges of delaying their cases, and some have filed formal complaints before the Judicial Service Commission, JSC. So we've seen where we see a lot of cases or backlog of cases in our courts. Maybe there is a kind of games that are played there, and maybe they are not so serious with making sure that these cases maybe are solved as fast as possible. So maybe there are games, and maybe a lot of people are benefiting from the same, to make sure that maybe they alter all these processes, they disobey the court processes and procedures, to make sure that maybe if they bend some laws and regulations, maybe they'll at the end of the day benefit from the same. We are not looking at the complainant, we are not looking at the accused. We don't maybe want to know how this case will end. We don't know, we don't want to, we are not careful, and also we don't care when it will end, how it will end, who is more affected, and where will the justice fall on or under. And then we find maybe some people are taking advantage of, they're not benefiting from our court. So it's a worrying state. Then how divisions in Mulembe Nation are costing the region its political clout. Then 4 decades Western Kenya has been courted during campaigns but not rewarded. Repeated sidelining of its leaders raises questions about ability to negotiate as a bloc. Then the attempt to remove Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna as Secretary General of the Orange Democratic Movement ODM party has triggered more than an internal party shakeup. It has opened up old wounds of disunity and betrayal in Western Kenya's political landscape. Okay, that's from page 8 of the Standard. Then Natembea races as defections rock Trans Nzoia politics ahead of polls. Then the governor boosted by strong development record and loyal grassroots support. Then residents call for unity, focusing on development over partisan politics. You can read that story from page 9 of the Standard. Then leadership race cracks deepen as Rift leaders battle for kingpin role. Then we're looking at UFC Ngishu Senator Jackson Madago. Then political leaders claim battle for supremacy of President Ruto's successor is intensifying. Every community in the Rift Valley is waiting to produce the next Supremo, will be the kingpin from that region. Then declaration by Talai Elder Christopher Koyogi that was in Gishu Senator Jackson Madago and Emurwa Dikir MP Joanna Ngeno, where Kalenjin kingpins are kicked up. A storming Rift Valley remarks by the Talai community. Vice Chairman have triggered a succession battle to replace President William Ruto as Kalenjin political supremo. So we shall also wait and see. Then maybe after Epstein expose, this is what must be done in Kenya to stop sexual predators. Then employers and professional bodies must prevent harm by enforcing code of conduct and clear grievance procedures, and by pushing overall complaint trends and outcomes without exposing survivors to patterns that cannot be hidden. Then maybe one paragraph: in the past 2 weeks, public attention in Kenya has been seized by 2 different but deeply connected stories about power, impunity, and the cost paid by women and girls. Globally, renewed attention to the Epstein files as we revived an odd question: how can sexual exploitation persist for years in societies that claims to have strong institutions, and how can systems frustrate survivors' access to justice back home? We can saw a wave of reports shared by women lawyers alleging sexual harassment and abuse within Kenya's legal profession, including claims of rape. You can read that story from page 11. Then we're looking at caricature here. We think plan to reopen Kenya-Somali border, or Kenya-Somalia border. Then we're looking at the young tax and the spirit revived. We're looking at 2 photos of or caricatures representing young people, and it is all about 1990 young tax and maybe 2026 it's a spirit revived. You can read the story from page 12 of the Standard newspaper. Then moving quickly to the Daily Nation. It's all about ODM, or Orange Showdown. Rival ODM factions yesterday held parallel rallies with embattled Secretary General Edwin Sifuna leading the rebels in Kitengela, and party leader Oburu Oginga taking charge in Mombasa with his pro-government charge in Mombasa. With his pro-government group that insisted Busia women rep Catherine Omanyo is the acting SG following Sifuna's controversial ouster last week. Now, it's a crisis. Official data shows 810 children face acute malnutrition. Then there's a story touching the northeastern regions. It's a staffing amid plenty. It's a national disaster, should be announced that and declared the same. And a tale of 2 Kenyans has emerged, with thousands staring at death due to famine ravaging parts of the country, particularly in northern Kenya, where emaciated Kenyans and dying livestock should prick the conscience of a nation that is carrying on with business as usual. Officials say an estimated 3.3 million people across 16 counties are facing starvation, yet in some other regions such as Mount Kenya and Eastern are glut in production of food rotting away on farms or being fed to livestock. Then there is a picture just alongside the Daily Nation. Tomato traders wait for customers at the Wakulima market in Nakuru County. Yesterday, there is a glut of the produce in the market for the second month in a row. A crate now retails as low as 800, down from 4,500 in October last year. This is from Boniface Mwangi. Then maybe some analysis here. Lokale Mekede 73. Still, it's a story against the issue of tomato production or in plenty in Nakuru County. Then along the same story with Lokale Mekede, who's 73 years old, sits under a shade at Nakalei village in Turkana, South Turkana on February 12th. The elderly, children and the sick who are unable to walk long distances in search of food are worst hit by the ongoing drought. Then maybe we can see page 2 and of the same, and maybe if you grab a copy of the Daily Nation, you can see what I'm talking about. You can see pictures of people suffering, people struggling, and maybe people are starving, and we can see carcasses all around northeastern region. Then page 2, when the rains fail, pastoralists watch their wealth turn into dust. Then Alima Hussein Nur has learned to live with waiting at 60. the mother of 9 spends her days scanning to the dusty road that cuts through Awara village in Mandera North, hoping to catch the first sight of government water lorry whose arrival had become the difference between survival and despair. Then that was page 2. Then we can see from page 3 of the Daily Nation, livestock carcasses lie in Chabibal village, Mandera North constituency. On Saturday, the area is among the worst 8 drought recording the highest livestock deaths. Then we can see a photo or a picture of Mr. Kaya Mohammed Ibrahim, who walks past livestock carcasses in Mandera on Saturday as pastoralists continue to lose animals to the ongoing drought ravaging in Mandera. Then we also have another photo of a small boy, and he fetches water from a well dug in a seasonal river in Kerio, Turkana Central Sub-County, Turkana County on Thursday last week. Residents are trekking long distances in search of water and domestic use and maybe livestock. Then a woman carrying a child on her back pulls water containers to her home in Abuloni village, Kerio, Turkana Central Sub-County. And on Thursday last week, after maybe fetching water from a well in a seasonal river bed. Then Mr. Abdigadir Gabo Hussein looks at his livestock carcasses dumped on the outskirts of Awara village in Mandera North on Saturday. He has most of his flock and remains with only 5 goats. Then Apur Ewoy Kingoi peels the softer part of a dry palm tree fruit, Makoma, at a seasonal river in Kapua, Turkana County last Friday. The peels are fed to livestock as others grapple with a prolonged drought that has forced many to move in search of pasture and water. Then others in Sericho, Marti, Isiolo County help an emaciated cow to stand on Friday last week. So if you take a copy of the Daily Nation, see from page 3 what is happening. I'll be getting back to the top story of the Daily Nation. Then a daily survival battle for angry Marsabit learners. Then it's all about how prolonged drought has disrupted livelihoods, education, and access to basic services for locals. And you can see how schools are suffering and how learners are suffering because of the drought that is affecting Marsabit, and it's also from the north region. Then page 5, tomatoes everywhere, no one to buy, and it's all about to grow 1 acre of tomato through irrigation costs about 300,000. A frustrated seller says at Kagio. Now, before I get deeper into some details that we have from page 5, that is reflecting from the story on the top page of the Daily Nation, there is a comparison that I was making, and maybe a check into what we need to be doing, maybe, or what the government need to be doing when it comes to maybe the issues of drought. And the statement or the top story of the Daily Nation is very clear. It's about you starving and you are in plenty. So it was a very big question for me, and maybe some of it is clear. Is clarified here, and it's a kind of a verification that is done. Maybe for you to produce a 1 acre of tomatoes, you have to part with 300,000 Kenyan shillings. Now that is in plenty, and maybe the production comes as you've wished. It comes in plenty. Now we looking at a crisis in Makueni County as we speak right now because of the plenty of mangoes that we have in Makueni. We also saw there is a factory, there is a plant, a fruit processing plant in Makueni County. It's around Kalamba region. It's between, or it's within, or it's along Ukia Water Road, the road connecting from Emali to Water Town. Now, if you get to that region, or from Emali to Kalamba, or on your way to Water Town, county government headquarters, you'll find a lot of fruits, a lot of harvesting is done there. But now there is a procedure and a due diligence that was supposed to be used and maybe put into place, maybe for you to transfer you produce, and this in quote the mango production of the mangoes around that region. There's a due diligence, there's a process that was supposed to be used to make sure that you transport, or even the plant or the company buys mangoes from people within Makueni County alone. Now, some claims of people maybe were selling mangoes from other regions. That was not, it is not as the charter displays the process of distribution to the fruit, to the juice processing plant. Now, my biggest concern is you have to wait maybe for 3 to 4 months, maybe for produce to come out, maybe for you to do an harvest. But you do all this process, it's very expensive process for you to see that maybe you have maize on your granaries, to have maize in your stores, to have any fruit, to have anything in your stores. It's a very expensive venture. But when it comes to maybe the government making or even putting measures to make them, maybe this purchase is done from the farmers and maybe from the people practicing agribusiness from any region, you find that maybe a lot of care is not put into consideration. Now, the Daily Nation is putting us at a close look at what the reality of things are. Northeastern region has been affected by drought for a very long time, and we saw something was built up in Northeastern, and I think it's Isiolo. I'm not very sure, but something was happening. Something was being built. I think it was a stadium, but I'm not very sure. It was to be built in, or it's ongoing around Isiolo Northern region there. And we're looking at maybe that is happening. We're looking at how people are starving. You can look at the state of the people around that region. Then you can look at the livestock. And there is a guy, there is a herder here in Isiolo. He had a lot of cattle, and they've died all. He's just left with 5 goats. Then you can look at the desperation. Now, people are dying amid plenty. Now, my concern is here. We are producing a lot, maybe when it comes to mango in Makueni, and this issue of tomatoes in Nakuru County. Now, it is now because we've produced, and a crate of tomatoes was costing 4,500 shillings last year, from October maybe to December, because of maybe the peak of the Christmas season. But that is not the issue. Maybe if you go down, if you minus, maybe you don't maybe look at the issue of maybe the peak season of a Christmas or of any season. Maybe a crate in normal times and days, maybe it can cost around maybe 3,500 there, against what the cost is right now in Nakuru. A crate of tomatoes is going for only 800 shillings now, because we have in plenty here. I'm just trying to look at the cost of maybe transporting all this food stuff to North region. How will it cost? How much will it cost to, if Makueni has produced, if Nakuru has produced, if Western regions have produced maize in plenty? What is the cost of taking care of all these people affected in Northern region by just transporting maize to the same region? You buy at a farm gate price from the farmers, then you transport all these to these people affected in that region. How expensive is that? Then we fail to take care of what we produce from our farms. Then at the end of the day, we claim maybe what we produce is maybe wasted from our farms because of maybe the unconducive environment, by the weather conditions, because we not take care of those conditions, we not take care of the procedure, maybe from planting to harvesting, then to storage, we not care of that. Then we move all the way into importing maize from maybe other regions to our country, while what we produce here in our country, it just remain into wastage. Then cattle from North region just die. People are suffering, people are dying because of the same. Look at the emaciation at that region, from cattle to people. How merciful are we? How merciful is the government? How lusty and how greedy are we? How personal are we? How self-centered are we to make sure that maybe this country has got a lot of money, but we can't take care of very few regions that we have in this country by just transporting food to these people, then why do you have to do other developments concerning those regions before maybe you look at the health in that region, you look at the issue of water in that region? If maybe you just erect a single dam in Isiolo County, you go to Marsabit, you go to every region, you just erect one single dam, how long will it serve? How many people will it serve? The biggest question at the end of the day, because you're not a rock that you die or you live forever in this life. Where will you take all this property you amass? Where will you take all these buildings you amass? Where will you take all this kind of money you have as the government? Then you're not taking care of the people suffering in northern region. Okay. So page 5, it's all about the issue of tomatoes, and in the scorching sun of Kongai, Kirinyaga County, heaps of red tomatoes lie abandoned in the fields, with Kenya's skin splitting and rotting on the dusty ground, a great paradox of the country's food system, a story that we can never understand. We produce here, and the people from the next region cannot be supplied with what we're producing. How do we help one another? I think it has to be a mutual thing. It has to be a cyclic thing whereby we produce here, it moves like a circle, supporting and maybe benefiting each and every other person. Now, page 6, stakeholders laud education reform bills. Then the proposed reforms based on this is PWPR recommendations as part of efforts to streamline Ministry of Education's operations are headed to Parliament to debate, and there are some reforms that need to be made into our education, and maybe there's a bill that is moving on, and maybe we shall see what will be happening, because education has been so controversial, as you've seen maybe from the Standard newspaper, that if you do your 844, it's a do or die thing. So you are not getting back to the same. You have to keep on proceeding, and maybe after you finish from 3, you are supposed to go to join a tertiary institution. No turning back. Then page 7 of the Daily Nation, Sifuna. Okay, we're looking at a photo of ODM leader Dr. Oburu Oginga addresses supporters during a Linda Ground rally in Ukunda, Kwale County. I said in Tononoka, Mombasa, or Kwale, it was all about Linda Ground. In Kitengela, with Edwin Sifuna, Secretary General ODM Party, it's all about Linda Mwananchi, or something of such sort. Now, Sifuna was expelled as the Secretary General some few days ago. Now, today, we're looking at what ODM interim party leader says of Edwin Sifuna, and Sifuna still a member of ODM. Party leader Oburu says amid row. Then the Orange Democratic Movement has clarified that it has not expelled former Secretary General Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, even after removing him from the party's top post over discipline. Speaking at Shalom Church in Mombasa, ODM party leader Oburu Oginga said Ms. Catherine Omanyo had been appointed as the new Secretary General, while Sifuna would step aside for a period as punishment. That is why we are saying we have our new Secretary General, Ms. Omanyo. The other Secretary General, the party decided he stays out for a little while because of lack of discipline. Okay. Then tear gas bullet in Kitengela as police disarmed Sifuna rally. It's all about politics. This was his first rally since being removed as ODM Secretary General. Then chaotic scenes as ODM supporters scamper to safety after police lobbed tear gas to disperse a rally addressed by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna yesterday. Yes, that is the difference that we had. Mombasa was very calm, then Kitengela was very chaotic. Now we need to put in our knowledge that this is what the first rally since Sifuna was expelled from his position as the Secretary General of ODM party. Now page 8, tax paying, water, power and basic services. In I buy a 20 from someone, a resident fetches water in Kibra, Nairobi County. Then I buy a 20-liter jerrycan at 10 shillings from vendors when water is available. But when it runs out, I have to pay 40 shillings per jerrycan for door-to-door delivery. That is too much. Then when we find MC Grace Atieno, that is just after mid-morning in Linti Ward, Kibra, Nairobi County. Then he said a single-room house plastic jerrycans are staked neatly in one corner. Some are empty and others are full. For Ms. Atieno, a mother of 3 who lives with 2 relatives, water is not something that comes by simply turning on the tap. She plans budgets for and constantly worries about it. Okay. We also have a puzzle within the issue of maybe water supply in Nairobi. And I also feel we need to make sure that this is cleansed, and we need to make sure that the process of someone getting water, maybe the water supply, is a bit have a lot kind of sanctity within itself. Now, elected leaders should use tech to boost transparency. This is from page 10 of the Daily Nation. Maybe the last 3, it's all about a caricature here. It's Daily Nation is talking of fixing grade 10 textbooks crisis to ease learning. Then I want to do something here. I want to read a story from page 11. It's all about the Daily Nation caricature, and it's a cartoon that is speaking a lot, speaking to like you and each and every other person, dying slowly by legal design. Now, from the right part of it and top part of it, it's all about it's giving instructions, it's giving regulations, it is saying what you need to do. Now, when you join a club, you have to obey the rules of that club. Now, the caricature itself, we're looking at a tin that is falling down, and maybe it's pouring its content, and the container is carrying orange color, and it is poured down, and this is to show that maybe ODM is down. Then we're looking at a caricature of the incumbent is pulling or is pushing Oburu Oginga on a wheelbarrow. Then Oburu Oginga himself has got a tin of yellow color, then a brush painting his head. A clear message that maybe ODM is down, UDA is on top, and that's why ODM from ODM interim party Oginga is maybe painting himself fully yellow to make sure that maybe he is changed from ODM party to UDA party. It's so interesting. You can check it from page 11 of the Daily Nation. Then maybe page that 14 is where I end the newspaper review. It's all about a concern that is concerning, or that concerns Nakuru County and City of Darkness. Outgrowing crime deemed Nakuru's shine, and it was hope for vibrant 24-hour economy are being undermined by rising insecurity. It's a city in the dark. Then when darkness falls, traders close and residents hurry home, leaving the poorly lit streets for criminals and the homeless. The Nakuru attained city status on December 1st, 2021. Residents and traders were optimistic that the Rift Valley region's largest commercial hub would evolve into a vibrant 24-hour economy comparable to Nairobi and other major cities now. Unfortunately, 4 years later, the vision remains elusive. Most businesses close early and residents rush home after dark, fearing muggings and other crimes. By 8 p.m., streets are largely deserted and traders shut their shops, and residents make a beeline for safety. Now, we're looking at a lot of visions for this country. We're looking at maybe this country becoming maybe a 24 working economy. But if you look at a state like Nakuru, you find maybe some kind of achievements we can't get such as achievements because of maybe the carelessness that we have and maybe the lack of care that we have, because lighting a street to make sure that maybe business people walk all through, it should be something very easy, but we're not taking that into consideration. We are not putting it as a big concern. By so doing, we make sure that maybe businesses are closed as early as 8 p.m. and maybe this throws a lot of losses maybe to business people, because maybe if this is done, Nakuru is already a town from 2021. Now, then if maybe there are some not levels of, if you become a town, there are some regulations, or there are some levels that you need to eat, that you need to be at if you become a town. And people are traveling to different places through Nakuru town every hour of the day, of the night. So maybe if Nakuru is turned maybe a 24-hour economy, a lot of business will be booming around that region. If you close a shop at 8 p.m., then maybe there are people traveling from the 8 p.m. all the way to morning. Maybe you could have sold to a lot of people. And maybe we also see some banks opening through the day. It's at 20. It's it opens. It's at 24/7. It opens the whole of the week, and business is running as usual. So maybe it propels a town or a nation to a different level economically. So that's what we had today in the newspaper review. But don't forget what we've done politically. Don't forget what we are looking maybe at from the Daily Nation. It's a very devastating story, a very worrying state of this country. I have a lot here. I have a lot that is suffocating here, but I'm not able to share the same to my neighbor and maybe to my friend. Now, before I go, I have to maybe notice a few people who are watching with me, and maybe who are following up with me, and I know hundreds of people who are following me, and thank you for watching EBN TV Morning Live. Now, I have Diana Mwane Jeff, good morning, following, thank you for watching, and we've Gladson Obama, good morning Jeff, always grateful to wake up to such amazing show, thank you so much Gladson. Then we have good morning Jeff Bungoma, we are locked in, and this is from Cynthia. Maybe Cynthia, if you see something that you can send through maybe Matatu, we're still here, you know where we are, you can send something to us. I hope you've earned that. So at this juncture, I need to leave, and before I leave, I want to declare something to each and every preacher. And I want also to thank you, every person who has been watching every show that we have here on EBN TV. We have a very new, amazing program on our radio station, that is Mshindi Radio. Then again, on EBN TV, we have a program on offer that is for all preachers. If you're an evangelist, maybe if you want to do counseling on TV, we have a very good offer for you. And this is only for 2026. Take it keenly. This is only for 2026. You just pay a subscription fee of 5,000 shillings only, annual subscription fee. Then once you do that, every time you have a show, you just be paying 1,000 for every 30-minute program. Maybe it be counseling based on, it's a Christian-based content, based on, if you pay 1,000, you'll have your content go on air for 30 minutes. So you can send you comment, you can maybe send your like, or even if you're interested in the same, you can send you message through our social media platforms or our SMS line, which is to 3059. For more that long, thank you for supporting EBN TV and Radio Mshindi. And from Morning Live, Jeffrey Kimayo Somba, I exit, and thank you. I wish you the best in our subsequent programs and bulletins. Goodbye.
are watching EBN TV, transforming your...
EBN TV cares about the growth of your business. To advertise with us, call 0725 386 501 or 0740 653 453. EBN TV, transforming your world.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming...
EBN TV is opening its doors to the world through EBN Gospel Storm, a powerful opportunity designed to take your message beyond borders. For an annual subscription of only 5,000 shillings, you gain access to a global gospel platform, and once subscribed, you can hear a 30-minute sermon for just 1,000 shillings. At EBN TV, we are raising 13 gospel voices every day, one preacher every hour. This is your platform to reach a wider audience, to amplify your calling, and to spread the gospel to the nations.
How do we position ourselves? Is it physical or is it spiritual? This book that we preach to position you. Salvation is actually a positioning, and the preachers preach endlessly in every place to position men that they can see God.
Start with EBN. Join the Gospel Storm. Minister to the world.
EBN TV, preaching Christ, touching lives, and changing nations.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
From Nairobi, Kenya, this is EBN TV.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your... Up next on EBN TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to EBN Kids. I'll be your host, Treasure MJ. Today we're going to be having so many activities such as singing, storytelling, riddles, and many more. Stay tuned.
Hello EBN Kids, my name is Hadassah and her name is Ella. Today we are going to present for you a song called I. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thank you. The King of Glory is here. The King is here.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world. You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
EBN TV cares about the growth of your business. To advertise with us, call 0725 386 501 or 0740 653 453. EBN TV, transforming your world.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
From Nairobi, Kenya. This is EBN TV.
Refreshing Times is here. Join us every Wednesday from 8:30 p.m. on EBN TV as Bishop J.B. Masinde of Deliverance Church International Umoja brings you messages of timeless wisdom, spiritual guidance, and heartfelt encouragement to uplift your spirit and renew your faith.
You are not what people said about you. You are not what you do. You are not what you wear. You are what God says about you. Somebody say amen.
Refreshing Times, where faith meets life, only on EBN TV.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world. Up next on EBN TV.
Buster looks like he's enjoying that bubblegum a lot. What's that? A message in a bottle? I wonder what it is. Whoa! It's a treasure map. X marks the spot. Buster and Robin are going to find the buried treasure. Now which way